Bonjour, aujourd'hui c'est le mercredi 13 mai. So this week and next week, and basically like last week and this week, I'll ask you to listen to several episodes of a podcast. So today I'll just be kind of reminding you of what I'm asking for with that, and giving you some helpful links and just encouraging you to keep following through with that. And then you'll submit kind of a reflection or a report on or around May 19th. So the idea of this is to get you to expose yourself to the French language as spoken by native speakers, to allow you to practice listening for fragments to understand a larger meaning, to give you the opportunity to build some vocabulary around your passions or interests, and the idea is you pick your own podcast, right? So it's not me telling you, okay, well, you have to listen to this podcast, but rather you going out and finding one that really interests you. It's also really great practice with, especially with the vocabulary that I've asked you to submit, where you find some vocabulary to look for, and those kind of serve as stepping stones to kind of help you along the way so that you don't have a full path, you don't have a full you're not going to understand 100% of what's said, right? But then you have these stepping stones that help you kind of get there, that help you get most of the gist of what's being said in these podcasts. Um, and yeah, and that's a really important kind of tool and skill to build. So again, there are three steps that I talked about. Uh, right now we're on step 2 and step 3. So step 2 was make a list of 10 to 20 words, vocabulary words, that will help you to understand the podcast. And you'll turn it into me. There's on Canvas. There's a submission that you can do. And the idea of this is to really prepare you to listen and to really understand as much as possible of the podcast. Step 3 is simply just going forward and listening more. So if you'd like more details, go ahead and check out the part 1 of this kind of podcast project. And that's talking more about how to go about doing this and the different steps. And then part 2, this is the QR code for part 2, I talk about which podcasts to choose from. And I've got links to the BuzzFeed article as well as Coffee Break French. And I kind of walk through some of the options. So this is part 2. Part 2, I'm kind of exploring the different options. So again, part 1, instructions and kind of the different details of what I'm looking for and how to go forth. And then part 2 is the podcasts themselves. So, quick reminder to please turn in your podcast report by the end of next week. So, the idea is this week you're sending me your vocabulary and you're starting to listen to some podcasts and taking notes and so on and so forth. And then you'll submit it sometime next week, either Tuesday or Thursday. Um, and then later today, I'll be having a YouTube Live as always, Wednesdays, 3 to 4 p.m. And it's for French 4, but really, if you want to join, you can. Or you can email me and I can sign on a little bit earlier if you'd like to ask questions there. I'd really like to make myself available to you in this time, and it's been really useful to some French 4 students, and I want to really extend that opportunity to you too, if you're interested. So that's it. I hope you're taking good care of yourselves, that you're staying safe with family, and kind of finding something that makes sense right now. This is all pretty bizarre and difficult. Um, so I hope you're able to find something that kind of makes sense, that feels good. Until then, à la prochaine fois. Au revoir.